Hello, guys, gals, and children of all ages, and welcome back to another edition of Are You In? I am back, as you can see, from my trip. Even though I did post a couple of videos over the last couple of days from my past week, I am back and ready to talk about some albums as well as do some other things, of course. There are 2 weeks left in June, so I have decided that I'm doing 2 more album reviews this week and next week from 2017. Once we get halfway through the year, I feel like it's kind of pointless to talk about some of these. But I really want to talk about these 2 albums because neither of these made my top 50 list. One by choice, one not so, and I want to go over these, these errors, if you will. So tonight I will be talking about one from 2017 that I did listen to, but did not put in my top 50. And now going back, I think it was a mistake. So we're going to start the timer. Got 15 minutes to talk, and I'm not going to waste any more time. So tonight's Are You In is on Alt J's newest album titled Relaxer. Now, for those of you who don't know who Alt J are, they are an indie experimental / art rock band from Leeds, England. The members include Joe Newman on guitar, bass, and lead vocals, Tom Sonny Green on drums, and Gus Unger Hamilton on keyboards and vocals. Their previous albums include An Awesome Wave in 2012, This Is All Yours in 2014, and that's the other one. So I don't actually remember how I got into this band, but I have listened to both of their albums, and I really like the first album. And I don't remember the second one as much, though I remember the song Left Hand Free being basically everywhere. I remember my old a cappella group in college did a cover of Breeze Blocks, and it was awesome. I think that's probably where I first got into them. I really enjoy their style. They're a very interesting band. You know, it's not necessarily the Radiohead aspect, but there is a little bit of that in their music. So when I heard that they had a new album coming out, I was excited. And I checked it out the first time, and I thought, not so much. But after wanting to go through a couple of albums from 2017, and I went through this again, my mind changed a little bit. So what did I think now, and why is it different from what I thought before? Well, I finally listened to it again, and the weird thing is, when I was going to do this this week, my thought was, okay, I'm going to be reviewing another weird album a la Oxymolody from The Flaming Lips, or even Everything Now by Arcade Fire. That one was a little bit weird too. But I listened to this again, and I was like, I gotta give it the light that it deserves. And it deserves a lot of light. This should have been in my top 50. I don't know exactly where I would place it. Maybe in the top 30. Who knows? I need to go through the list again. But there's a reason for that, and it's because it's a very interesting and a very beautiful album. It's only 8 tracks long, so it's about like 40 or so minutes, maybe a little bit longer than that. But each one is interesting in its own right, and I'll give a little taste of each one of these songs. You have 3WW, which is my favorite song on the album. It's a completely understated song musically. It's a song that features mostly shaker and some claps and a little bit of acoustic guitar at the beginning. It does build a little bit with some more electronic feel in the middle, but for the most part it's a very understated song, which gives the melody and the lyrics time to shine. And the song itself is about a lad who is traveling England's northeast coast during the night, and his experiences in this journey, and at the end he whispers the 3WW, which is the 3 worn words. I believe it's probably I love you. There's not really a way of maybe there's a way of interpreting it, but that's probably what it is. And I think the chorus is interesting. It's basically saying these 3 worn words are used, and like they make like a little comparison to um, Shakespeare's Juliet at the Casa di Giulietta in Verona, which is a statue that has been damaged over the years by people rubbing uh, the statue for good luck and love. So I was talking about these idea of these three worn words like this statue. So used over time, and it's a beautiful song. It's a great way of starting this album. Then you have a song like "In Cold Blood," not my favorite song, but it has a more of a alt rock kind of feel to it, with more drums, even a horn section. It's a fun song, and it's about a person at a summer pool party who has a lot of fun, falls into the pool, and then comes out and to see someone getting stabbed. And it's a quirky song, and they hide something really interesting in the beginning. The binary that they use, if you mix it and reverse it, is actually makes the binary for the certain triangle that Alt J's symbol is, which I think is kind of cool. It has not much to do with the song, but it's interesting enough to me. Then you get something like House of the Rising Sun, which, it's a very popular classic rock song by the Animals, but they completely reimagine it. New chords, new melodies, new lyrics, new harmonies, a completely different feel. Gone is, it's not as jaunty. It's a little bit more more classical guitar-ish. There's 20 classical guitarists on there, and it's a beautiful, beautiful rendition of it. It's one of my favorites on the album because of how they transformed this song. And some of the lyrics are a little bit weird, but I think it's beautiful. It's a cool way of a musician showing their skills of rearranging a song for a completely different crowd, and I think it's really cool. Then you get honestly my least favorite song on the album, "Hit Me Like That Snare," which is this raunchy, sexy-filled song about someone going to like a hostel or something like that, and just having a raunchy good time. And the music definitely makes it feel that way. It's not my favorite song, and it kind of ends weirdly, but I also do really like the reference to a moon-shaped pool, which is Radiohead's latest album. I think that's cool, but again, not a song for me. Then you get "Dead Crush," which is also an interesting song, more of electronic feel. It's about the band's what they call dead crushes, which are people from history that are not alive anymore, but you would have fun with, if you will. And for the first verse is about Lee Miller, who was a photographer. The second verse is about Anne Boleyn, and it's a fun musical, an interesting idea, a fun electronic song with electric guitar as well. The only thing I don't like about it is the kind of nasally high falsetto chorus. I don't really like that, but overall it's a fun song. Then you get something like "Adeline," which is a more beautiful song with that just builds and builds in terms of instrumentation and in terms of feel. You get just acoustic guitar at the beginning, and then more drums, and just it keeps building and building over the like 5 or so minutes that it is. And it's a beautiful song with an interesting concept as well about a Tasmanian devil. Peering on this woman who's swimming, Adeline. She's swimming in the river, and she's singing the Old Triangle, which is an Irish song, and he's enraptured by this person, but knows that it would never work because they're two different species. And it's an interesting concept for such a beautiful song. Then we get to Last Year, which is a song about it's a beautifully brilliant song. It's a song that has two parts. The first part is sung in the perspective of someone who lives their last life before they take their life, and just like how it's a slow song with just acoustic guitar, and it just like gives you the time to realize how how this person's feeling, and it like goes month by month, and it takes like the highlight of that month, if you will, or low light, whatever you want to call it, and like the lyrics are beautiful, the message is poignant, and it's just an interesting take on this idea. And then the second part is a friend singing at the funeral of this person, wishing that they were still around, and what they would do for them. And it's another long song on the album, but it's one that's really, really poignant. I personally think that should have been the closer to the album, but there is one more, which is Pleader. And it's kind of an interesting song with two parts. You got the more instrumental side that has strings and acoustic guitar and drums and a little bit of electronics and a little bit of flute, a little bit of marimba, organ as well. And then you have the actual vocal part, which sounds more like a hymn, and you can definitely hear that in it because they recorded at Ely Cathedral, where one of the members had worked before, and it's a beautiful ender. It just feels a little bit all over the place sometimes, especially with the length of it. But it's another interesting song, and that's what I can say about this album. It's 8 songs, and every one of them, for the most part, is interesting. Even though I don't like, In Cold Blood or Hit Me Like That Snare as much as the other ones, they have a purpose on this album. Hit Me Like That Snare is that raunchy sound that it works, even though I don't like it. And In Cold Blood, feels a little bit like previous stuff. And I thought it was weird, and it is weird. There is a lot of weird ideas on this album, but I think that what makes it so cool as well is that there's concepts on this album that I can't think of anyone else who does that type of stuff. It's not like hugely funny, kind of like the satirical nature of like They Might Be Giants or Weird Al Yankovic or any like musician comic. But it's not like so serious like Radiohead songs or other songs like that. It melds very well together, both of those ideas. The music's great, the music's interesting. It bridges between more electronic stuff and more classical and acoustic stuff, and it merges so well throughout the album. You have probably like 4 and 4. And they're all placed over the map, so it's not like you have a string of one or string of the other, so you won't get bored. I think it takes a couple of listens to honestly to get the full spectrum of this album. Like I said, I thought that it was too weird, and that's why I didn't put it in my top 50. I didn't even consider it for my top 50, and now I kind of regret that because I think it's a really interesting album and one that I would listen to again and again. I don't know exactly where I would place it, but it's worth a listen. Even if you don't understand it the first time, give it another listen. Like, where else are you going to hear a song about a Tasmanian devil loving a human, or a murder at a pool party, or the idea of counting down the days of one's life, or just like anything, like dead crushes? Like, where are you going to get most of that? Like, I appreciate the experimental nature of this album, and I don't know if it's necessarily their best album, but it's a really good one, and one that you should take a listen to if you get a chance. If you like experimental or artsy music, or indie rock, with more classical feel, I think you're going to like this. If you like Alt J, I think you're still going to like this one as well. And if you are looking for something a little bit different, give this one a chance. You never know how much you're going to like it. It took me a couple of times, but I did like it. So that is my time, and I still have 1.5 minutes left, so I'm doing a pretty good job, I think. So thank you so much for watching. Of course, if you like this, a couple of different things. First off, like the video so I know that you are enjoying what I'm doing. comment on albums that you'd like me to review. Share this with your friends so that they can hear, my opinion on this. Or again, also comment on like your opinion on this as well. I think that would be awesome. Subscribe to my channel. That's the best thing that you can do, so I know that you are interested in what I'm doing, as well as want to continue watching what I do. And finally, just keep watching my videos. I have a lot of cool stuff coming out very soon. So this is my second to last album that I want to talk about from 2017. Like I said, was one that surprised me, and I should have had it. But the next one is actually a friend requested one, and one that I completely missed, and I'm excited to review. It will be my last album to talk about from 2017. Hopefully I'll be able to have this friend on as well. We'll see. Who knows? But, of course, keep on keeping on, and I will see you all on Friday or Saturday for a cover song. And I believe I'm going to do my audition song from The Voice. So stay tuned for that. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.